How's it going, everybody? In this video, I want to talk about all the lies that were told about firearms during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and how those could apply to your case if you ever have to act in self-defense. So let's talk about this. But real quick, before we jump into this video, if you agree that Kyle was not guilty and acted in self-defense, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I also want to give a shout out to one of the main supporters of the channel, which is USCCA. Through your membership, you get training, education, and self-defense and liability protection. So if you carry a firearm, I highly recommend you take a look into USCCA, and I'll put a link to them down in the details section. Also, I want to let you know that this content is powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. So head on over to joinfpc.org to help support the Second Amendment cause. Thank you again, Firearms Policy Coalition, for supporting this channel. So like I said in the intro, in this video, I want to talk about all the lies that were told about firearms during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. These lies all point to the fact that if you ever find yourself in a self-defense shooting, the prosecutor and media will blatantly spin a false narrative to try to get you convicted. That is why this case was such an important case for our right to self-defense, and why a lot of people were saying really that it wasn't just Kyle that was on trial, but it was our right to self-defense that was also on trial. So the first lie I want to talk about, and the first lie that popped up during the trial, was in relation to FMJ rounds, or full metal jacket rounds. If you watched the trial, you saw the prosecutor Binger. He really liked to say full metal jacket rounds because he thought it added more punch to how dangerous those rounds are. Binger made claims during the trial that FMJ rounds are more deadly than other types of ammunition, and that they can go through body armor and armored vehicles, and that if you were to be shot by one, or if you were to shoot one, they would go through a target and they would pass through and just keep going and going and going. A lot of these statements are really half-truths, but the prosecutor will try to put them forward to the jury as the absolute truth. Now, can an FMJ round, a 223-556 round, go through body armor? Well, yes, maybe some types of body armor that aren't rated for that specific round, but most people, including law enforcement, will buy armor that is actually rated to stop that specific round because it is a very common type of ammunition. Personally, every vest that I own is actually rated to stop that type of caliber because it's a very common type of caliber. It's a very common type of firearm, and almost every single type of armor is rated to stop that unless it's only rated to kind of stop handgun rounds. So again, a half-truth that was being made by the prosecutor, but trying to make it seem like an FMJ round out of an AR-15 is just so dangerous and that it can go through any type of body armor, which is just false. And also, they made the statement that the FMJ round can go through armored vehicles, which we all know is just incorrect. Those types of vehicles are rated to protect against that specific type of round, being that it is one of the most common types of firearms and rounds. And an armored vehicle that couldn't stop a 223-556 FMJ round really isn't an armored vehicle. It's just probably a standard vehicle. Now, to the statement that an FMJ round can go through an object and just continue on forever, yes, I guess that could be kind of true, but a lot of the kinetic force is lost when it hits the initial object, and often after hitting the initial object, the round will fracture, tumble, etc. So the concept that this is being touted by many prosecutors that a round will hit someone and then go through and hit 5 other people just isn't supported by the ballistic evidence for that type of round. And we all know that in the firearms world, but they like to tout the FMJ round as something that can just go through one object and keep going and going and going, and we know that's not true. This all points to the fact that the prosecutor will try to take the type of firearm that you used, take the type of round that you used, and kind of make it seem like no good person with good intent would use that specific type of firearm or that type of ammunition for self-defense. And if you ever find yourself in a self-defense situation, they will try to do the same thing to you. Next, during the trial, Prosecutor Binger even tried to vilify the hollow point type of ammunition that wasn't even involved in this case whatsoever, but it was brought up. Binger went as far as to testify himself, which he's not supposed to do because he was clearly not an expert, but he testified himself that hollow point rounds explode when they hit someone. And that was quickly corrected by the judge, who said, well, I don't think that's what you're actually meaning to say. They don't explode, they expand, is what the judge said. But this is something you see pop up a lot in self-defense cases. If someone uses a handgun, for example, for self-defense with hollow points, the prosecutor will try to claim that the hollow points are so deadly, they leave a hole like in someone that's the size of a football field, is what they'll try to say. They'll just make up any statement, and they'll try to say that that specific round is so much more dangerous that someone should use an FMJ round. So you can see how they're just kind of flip-flopping whenever that type of specific round is brought up. Now, after talking about the type of ammunition that Kyle had used, the prosecutors then went on to talking about the deadly AR-15 that Kyle had in his possession and used in self-defense. They talked about how it's more lethal than a shotgun or a handgun, and even at one point asked Kyle why he didn't just go and purchase one of those other types of firearms. Why didn't he go purchase a handgun or a shotgun? This line of questioning points to how a prosecutor in a self-defense case will try to make that type of firearm that you used the most lethal type of firearm that anyone could have ever picked, that has ever existed, and will try to frame you as a bad person for using that specific type of firearm. Another outright lie Binger actually said during the trial in front of the jury is that firearms don't have a handedness. Now, anyone with an inch of firearms experience knows that that is just blatantly not true. You can obviously walk into a gun store and buy a left-handed gun or a right-handed gun. But that won't stop a prosecutor like Binger from telling a clear lie like that and make a clear lie that anyone who has any experience would actually know is a lie. And that goes for other types of clear facts as well. For example, they might say a 15-round magazine is a larger capacity magazine when it comes standard with maybe a handgun. They might say a collapsible stock makes an AR-15 way more lethal when in reality, it's simply just ergonomics. And again, it's something that comes standard with a rifle. They might even say that your rifle was fully automatic when in reality, it was just simply semi-automatic. So they will make very factually just blatant lies to try to fit their narrative. And we saw that actually play out in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. There was also discussion about whether Kyle used the charging handle to eject a live round out of his rifle during one of the incidents. This was kind of a weird discussion, and I don't know exactly what the prosecutor Binger was trying to prove, but this is, I think, was more of the prosecutor's lack of firearms education. Binger clearly showed he knew nothing about firearms, had no education on firearms. In fact, he talked about Kyle breaking some of the firearms safety rules that night. Said that Kyle was not safe in his handling of firearm, and then Binger proceeded to point the firearm at the jury with his finger on the trigger, essentially breaking almost every single firearms rule that is actually out there. Finally, one of the last lies that came up during Kyle's trial revolved around body armor. Binger brought up how Kyle went and bought some body armor the day of the event and how many of the other individuals that night were also wearing body armor. Binger tried to make it as if no one needs body armor unless they're essentially up to no good. This is kind of a newer narrative that has been popping up more and more, especially since a lot of people over the last couple of years have gone beyond just purchasing firearms, but also have started purchasing body armor and other types of supportive gear. Body armor, night vision, holsters, and other kind of supportive gear is crucial, and everyone really should spend time thinking about their self-defense systems and maybe what they need to protect themselves and their family, not simply just when they're carrying concealed, but also in their home, etc., just in case things go worst case scenario. But just understand prosecutors will latch onto anything they can to try to make you appear more nefarious than you actually are. For example, if you have a red dot on your carry handgun, they might try to say, oh, that's way more lethal than just the standard handgun. Maybe if you had a laser on your handgun, they'll try to say the same thing. Or maybe if you have a magazine extension on your carry handgun, they might say, well, look, he was up to no good. Why did he need all this ammunition if he's just worried about his self-defense? So those are some of the major firearms lies that popped up during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that I thought were important and I could see popping up at really anyone's self-defense trial if they ever found themselves, unfortunately, in a situation like this. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if maybe something else popped up to you during the trial that maybe I didn't mention in this video, also leave those down in the comment section. If you like this video and like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm or fuel Algore's rhythm. It adds fuel to his jet and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of two-way news. Thank you so much to everybody who's liked, commented, subscribed, who's hit the notification bell. You guys are directly impacting these channels, impacting these videos, helping these videos to reach more people than ever and spread two-way news and information like this. So again, thank you to everybody who's liked, commented, subscribed. I never would have thought I would have reached 200,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That was kind of a lofty goal that I set for myself, but you guys helped me crush that goal. So maybe if you're a longtime lurker, consider subscribing. Also, if you're a new subscriber, make sure you comment down below that you're a new subscriber, and I will make sure I comment back to you. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget, this is with Built by Arm Scholars and nationally maintained by Arm Scholars.